take a deep breath, take the higher road. That's what they always say, as if they know the way. They won't take it from me. But don't ever doubt yourself, 'cause life ain't just a dream. You make your own, so kick and scream. The people will act with a never-ending force. You never had the chance, so what you waiting for? The day has come, my friend, 'cause this is war. It's time and this is war.
As important as it is for us to shine our light on the darkness and corruption in our world, particularly that which exists in many larger corporations, it is equally important for us to shine a spotlight on those who are not just in business to thrive, but to uphold and nourish the very essence of our American spirit. In this series, I proudly feature businesses that stand out not only for their entrepreneurial prowess, but for their unwavering commitment to the values that define us as a nation. These are the businesses that weave the fabric of integrity, hard work, and community into every product they create and every service they provide. As a co-founding member of the Freedom Chamber, I believe in the power of supporting our own, in fostering an economy that reflects the principles of freedom, equality, and opportunity for all. It is more than just economics. It's about celebrating and supporting a marketplace that respects the dignity of every individual and the collective strength of our nation. Each Freedom Chamber business I spotlight in this series is a beacon of hope and a testament to what it means to be truly American. They are run by individuals who dare to dream big and act boldly, who innovate with purpose and give back to their communities with a generous heart. These are the entrepreneurs who support local jobs, nurture local communities, and strengthen our national economy, all while holding the torch of freedom high. Get ready to be inspired, to connect, and to discover the incredible stories behind these pro-American businesses. As we celebrate their achievements and support their endeavors, we continue to foster a marketplace where freedom and success go hand in hand. Collectively, we can make a difference, one purchase, one investment, one community at a time. You're listening to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Before we get started today, I do want to encourage our listeners, if you have questions or comments, or perhaps you want to share your own experiences with what you're seeing on the front lines of healthcare, you can now submit those to us by sending them directly to nurses@americaoutloud.com. We will be featuring your questions and comments every Friday on a special Q&A episode with the nurses. We encourage all of you to engage in the battle and find your voice in this fight. But until you are able to do that, we will continue to be that voice for you. In this first episode of the ongoing series, I feature two co-founding members of the Freedom Chamber, founder and CEO of Liberation Technology Services, Andrew Riddoff. And in the second segment, I will talk with Senior Vice President of Operations and Advocate Development for Job Creators Network, Tony Angelini Nagel. Enjoy the conversations. Joining me for our first segment is Andrew Riddoff, a seasoned expert and an innovative leader in the cybersecurity domain. He serves as the co-founder and CEO of Liberation Technology Services. His company is at the forefront of the private cloud hosting industry, introducing groundbreaking cybersecurity solutions and pioneering liquid-cooled edge data centers. Andrew's expertise is not confined to the tech world. His dynamic leadership and strategic prowess have been demonstrated nationally during his tenure with the Executive Office of the President of the United States. As a key figure within the Office of Presidential Advance for the 45th President, Donald J. Trump, Andrew's strategic insights and operational excellence have supported over 300 presidential trips, including 16 international missions. His role was crucial in planning strategic messaging and logistics, showcasing his ability to navigate complex situations and lead large teams with precision and adaptability. Andrew's political acumen was highlighted as the strategic director for the Donald J. Trump for President campaign in Florida, where he played a pivotal role in securing a significant victory by winning 7 out of 8 key counties. His contributions to the 2016 Republican National Convention and the 58th Presidential Inaugural Committee further attest to his versatile capabilities and leadership in high-pressure environments. Andrew's background offers a unique blend of technology innovation, political strategy, and executive leadership. All right, Andrew, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So, your company, Liberation Tech, along with my organization, Remnant Healthcare, we are founding members of this newly established Freedom Chamber. Now, I think that this is a collaboration that is long overdue and incredibly necessary in these times that we are living in. So I really want to hear more about your company and your thoughts on the Freedom Chamber.
Well, yeah. So, founding Liberation, like founding so many of our partners in the Freedom Chamber, it was at a critical time. We saw, in our case, technology companies siding with a political bias, censoring individuals because they fall out of Silicon Valley's ideological box. And there really weren't any alternatives, not any that were independent from AWS and Google and alike. And so we found so many people, so many Christians, conservatives, pure Americans and patriots, were without a place to actually host their email, host their websites, do video conferencing, all these types of things. And so we built Liberation as a zero knowledge cloud that has no dependency on AWS or Google or any of the other bad actors. Excuse me. And we just really focused on restoring some sanity back into the marketplace. And that's by just saying, hey, as long as you don't break the law, you're not smuggling kids or doing, illegal drugs, we don't care what you do, right? We look at the internet really as a utility, the right for all. And it doesn't matter where you stand, on the religious spectrum, on the ideological spectrum, you have a right, a God-given right to communicate, to share your ideas, to practice in free speech, to run your business, sell your goods and all these different types of things. And, when Tom and the rest of the folks at Freedom Chamber came along, I thought that they were solving a critical gap in the marketplace. The actual Chamber of Commerce has sold out middle America. They've sold out the middle class. They've sold out the mom and pops. And, their membership is down. And that's because, they have clients like Walmart and Facebook. And those are the only remaining members. And it became evident that we needed to be a part of this as a founding member, because someone needs to be looking out for the little guy, for those that maybe just have one or two locations, someone that is advocating for traditional capitalism and competition in the marketplace. And so we're really proud of, the Freedom Chamber. We think that it's a great organization that will do a lot of good in middle America over the next decade. And, we look forward to being able to provide technology services to those members and to give individuals the capability to operate independently without the fear of, big organization or big government telling them how they need to go about their day-to-day lives.
Yeah, and it's the censorship has been incredible over the last 4 years, certainly. But it started happening even prior to 2020. When was your company formed?
So I was in the Trump White House for 4 years before this. So I had a front row view of everything that was taking place. And we actually got started at the end of 2020 after the elections, when it became evident that technology companies were picking sides. Yes. And that there wasn't an alternative. So we've been at this for almost 3 years now, fighting hard every single day for the American people.
That's incredible. And my organization was started born of the necessity of an alternative. COVID was very eye-opening to me. I've been in healthcare for 28 years, and COVID opened my eyes to so many things, and especially the need to have an alternative to the conventional sick care model that we have in this country that is really just funded by big pharma, big corporate, and let me just be clear. I'm not against corporate. I'm not against capitalism, none of that. I'm very capitalist. I'm conservative. I'm for all of that, but it's not true capitalism when the government is controlling it. That's
well, and I'd even go a step further. When you talk about technology companies and healthcare, there's been such a roll up, a consolidation. Now there are few entities and companies that control massive portions of the market, right? And so, that alternative is traditional capitalism, but it is creating alternatives from these monopolies, these massive healthcare systems or technology companies. And so, I would say what we're both providing is a second opinion, an alternative, right? Letting the American people go out, collect information from different sources and making their own informed decision, whether they want to take big pharma medicine or, they maybe want to try an alternative treatment. That's why President Trump created the right to try
Yes.
policy, so that people can make their own informed decisions and go in the direction that they, see fit. And removing some of that control from big pharma in that specific policy.
Yeah, I think I have pretty notoriously said, and from the very beginning, when I started kind of stepping out on a national stage, and I've spoken at medical freedom events around the country, and I've spoken about things like that we need to burn this current system to the ground, and I don't believe that that's ever going to happen, and maybe it shouldn't happen. I think, like you say, people should have the option and the all of the information to make that informed decision. Some people, Western medicine, listen, it has its place. It really does. Where Western medicine shines is in emergency medicine, in trauma, but it doesn't do well in preventative health. It doesn't do well at keeping people and preventing disease. It just doesn't. Big pharma is very much in control, unfortunately, and is causing more harm than good, I will say.
Look, I think in the true values of capitalism, right? There should be massive healthcare systems practicing Western, but at the same time, we should allow for massive organizations practicing holistic and Eastern and all of these other types of things. I don't think that diversity in the marketplace is a bad thing for anyone. No. Right. Except for those that are probably in control right now. Right. That competition. That's why they fight so hard, tooth and nail to, whether it's censor or to keep a certain party in power. They're fighting to preserve their power. But I think, as an American, as a patriot, competition is great. We're not saying I don't advocate to get rid of AWS or Google. I think they have their place. And, ultimately, if you don't like their policies, their terms and conditions, you should have somewhere else to go.
Oh, agreed, 100%. And I think that competition in the marketplace is great. That's what drives the market. And I think it's important and it's necessary. But I think the biggest problem for me is that when, people really don't have a choice, if they don't have all of the information, then they never really have a choice. And in so many things in healthcare, they're not getting all of the information. I believe that the CDC, the FDA, all of these government agencies are completely captured. And the American people are not given all of the information, thereby they don't have a choice. So that's why I feel like it's so important to have this other alternative, more holistic approach and make that available for people. And once they have that information, whichever way that they decide, at least they've gotten that information. I'm grateful for companies like yours because the space that I'm in, my organization is a private membership association. We're a 508c1a. Are you familiar with that structure?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that this is the way many, many companies need to go. And for those who don't understand a private membership association, it is just a private contractual agreement between ourselves and our members. And it is our constitutionally guaranteed right to private contract. And, long settled case law have determined that our right to contract is unlimited. So there's no rights for the federal government, local authorities to step into what we're doing. They have no jurisdiction whatsoever. So I think that this is important in moving forward. I think more companies should go this route, but it's important to have companies like yours to provide services because I'm stuck with like a payment processor right now, like Stripe. I'm just waiting for Stripe to cancel me, right? And we know it's coming. The problem is that these technologies, they don't integrate, right? My website is hosted by Wix. They don't integrate with other technologies. So I'm just kind of at the mercy of all of these tech companies that hate me. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to looking into so what can something like Liberation Tech do for my organization? Is that something where you would be able, we'd be able to host a website and do things like payment processing?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So we've built a variety of different services really focused on, what I like to say from Main Street to Wall Street. We can work with the solopreneur all the way up to the larger organizations. And we've created products and services that really meet the needs of the day-to-day individual and business owner. All right. So we've built a no-code drag and drop website builder. We have partners that do the payment processing. So you can ditch Wix, you can ditch Stripe. We've also built a email blast that we call Liberation Campaign. So you can get rid of MailChimp and Constant Contact. We have our own cloud. So it doesn't matter if you've got a basic website or, a company with 5,000 employees, we can help you out in that regard. And, we've also built Hub for Teams, which is kind of one of our flagship products. And that allows for you to take about 20 different applications, throw them in the trash, save a bunch of money, and, get your information secure. So it has your email, your contacts, your calendars, your files like Dropbox, a appointment setter like Calendly. It has video conferencing so you can get rid of Zoom. It has project management like Monday.com. So we built this very robust, fully integrated system that I think is better than what is currently on the market, which is important in a capitalistic society. But it's also built with zero knowledge. We don't have access to your emails, to your files, or anything like that. Whereas, these other guys, it's in their terms and conditions. You are granting them full access. They have their AIs running through everything. And at a flip of the switch, you could find yourself unable to access information anymore that you've created, right? That should technically be owned by you. They'll just turn you off, and their AIs can be trained to find, some very niche things and go after you because of that.
So is your model, is it a subscription-based service, or is it something that you purchase outright?
Yeah, so it's subscription-based service. We're competitive in the marketplace. With Hub for Teams, a normal business owner is paying about $200 per employee to use all those other products that I just mentioned. With us, you're paying $14.95. So we've had customers that we end up saving thousands of dollars a month because they don't have to pay for 10 Zoom license and all these different Dropbox subscriptions and things like that. And so, it is, I guess, a alternative, but also a better product in the market overall.
Right, because you're saving money. And I'm going to ask you this because I have recently I purchased, and I already regret it. I purchased like a CRM, customer relation management software. And I thought it all looked great. And it was kind of similar to what you're talking about, where it kind of, I was told, was going to get rid of all of these other products and all. I'm not technically inclined. I'm an ICU nurse. I can save your life, but I really can't do all this technical stuff on the computer. That's just not my niche. Does it come with any kind of training?
Oh yeah, we have a ton of different videos, a ton of explainers, how to's, get started, all of that kind of stuff. But one of the beauties about this is we've built this to mimic a lot of the things that you're familiar with on the other platforms, right? There's a share button, right? It's all kind of logical, and so it makes it very easy for you to fully understand the platform, right? We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We've taken a lot of things that work on these other platforms and included them in ours. And so, we have users that within the first day, they go, okay, I've got it all figured out.
And I think that's so important is, to keep things very user friendly. I think that the software that I did get, I think it could be great. Like, we have a very small team, right? So it's like myself, maybe one other person, and maybe our assistant. So it's a very, very small team of people. And so we don't really have the time and bandwidth to like be loading all of these things in, and doing all of that. So I feel like, whatever we got is not really working for us. you
You
know.
know what's the best part? We've actually made it even easier. So say you have Google Workspace, Microsoft Teams, Dropbox,
Mhm.
and you want to move everything over to Hub for Teams. We've already built those integrations,
Oh,
right?
wow.
So you just, when you're setting everything up, you would do a one-time login to your current provider, hit export, and all of that information is copied over exactly as it is in your current provider, and it's already set up. So you can actually move your entire organization in a half hour, if that. So we do try to make it very, very easy because, yeah, you can make technology so complicated that people just throw their hands up in the air and it's too much for,
Yeah.
a three-man operation. So by making it not only familiar in the day-to-day use, but also easy to migrate over, those were some very key principles and, what we focused on when building this.
Yeah, that's so, so important. And so it has a lot of, I'm assuming, kind of automations, that I've done most of everything manually with my organization from the beginning, and it's a lot, right? So I think that the more things that we can automate, and even though I kind of hate AI technology, it's like one of those double-edged swords, right? Sometimes we need it.
Yeah, there are benefits, and I say this all the time. The AI is a tool. It is built by a man. It is not RoboCop. It is as good as the person wielding it. And so, yeah, there are great places for AI. We use a little bit of AI, on like our website builder. You can actually say, hey, build me a website that looks like X, Y, and Z. But that's the extent of it.
Right.
There's a place and a time and a use case for AI, but having it in your email and everything, that's not the answer. And we do have some automation built in. Mind you, this is not a CRM. This is what I like to tell people. It's a replacement to Google Workspace and Microsoft Teams. That is where I would say it is one for one. Plus, we added features, right, that those aforementioned platforms don't include. So you're actually getting more capability than, if you're with Google Workplace.
Yeah, I think, and one of the things that I was really focused on as I'm trying to, grow my company, grow my organization and market, I was really interested in like an affiliate manager. Is that something you offer as well within your software?
So it's not our website builder does have kind of affiliate codes and tracking and things like that. Yes, but it's not a full affiliate management platform. We actually do custom development, and when we design websites for people, we actually have a much more robust tool for that. So, we're actually helping a company right now set up a rewards program, an affiliate program, a new e-commerce capabilities, all of these different things. We had Vivek as a client of ours for his presidential campaign. He didn't want to use, Eventbrite and those types of platforms. So we built them a custom event platform, and that actually powered his entire campaign and allowed for, tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people to hear him speak in person.
That's amazing. I'm really going to dig into what you have to offer. I'm going to look at your website and see if this would be a good fit for our organization. And because it is so important, we need to stop doing business with people who hate us. I like to say that often. We're giving our money to people who don't even want to share the same air that we breathe. So I think it's important to support the companies like yourself that are really putting yourself out there and giving us an alternative to the monopoly that's out there that of this big tech and big corporate America. I think that this is an incredible opportunity for so many patriots to step out of that matrix, if you will.
Amen. And I say this all the time. People think that the only way that they can make an impact in the direction of this company is when they vote every 2 years. That is not the case. I would say even more impactful, voting with your wallet.
Yes.
That can really change the direction of this society. If we stop giving money to those that oppose our ideological and moral views, and will go even to the extent that they will try to suppress that view, we're just continuing to feed the beast. It is the cycle of insanity. We can't be upset that, things are still the status quo unless we are actively making a decision to move in the opposite direction. And so, if 100 million Americans, really get their act together and say, yeah, we're not going to do business with, some of these companies that are pushing ideology down our throat, those companies will stop very quickly. And I think we would be amazed to see at what kind of impact, our capitalist, system really has. And I think we saw it a lot in the 40s and the 50s, but people kind of got complacent and just accepted the status quo. But I don't think we have to do that any longer.
No, I agree. And, I believe this, and I say this often. My listeners probably get tired of me saying this, but it's true. The power lies with the people, and people have become so just, they're comfortable and they become complacent and very apathetic, but we have got to become comfortable with becoming uncomfortable, because until we do that, we are always going to be somebody's slave. We have to be uncomfortable. And that's okay.
I don't know how uncomfortable you necessarily have to be, because I'm guessing your healthcare services are top notch, just like our technology services. And I don't think it has to be a either or,
Right.
I think that you should still get great quality service that makes you comfortable. You just have to make the cognizant decision to break your kind of repetition.
Yes,
right.
And break ripping the Band-Aid off. Yeah. Ripping the Band-Aid off and getting it done.
And, it's just a matter of, purchasing products from you or scheduling, consultations from you. With us, it's, you go on and you make a one-time move over to our platform, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. It isn't something that has to make you uncomfortable every single day, but you do have to be intentional about your actions.
Yes. And that's what it is about, making that intentional choice to change over and just do something new. And I think that 90% of it is just really changing people's mindsets, because we're also conditioned to live life a certain way and to have all of these habits that we do. And we've done them for years, and we just think that this is the way to go. And many people think that just life in general is too complex for managing on our own. And maybe, or not me, but some people would like to rely more so on the government to manage their day-to-day lives. And, there's that is not the way to go. So I think that companies like yourself and my organization, I think that we are leading the charge, and I'm so grateful for you. Andrew, I'm going to have you come back, because there's so much that we could really dig into, but I'm grateful to you for joining me for this segment about the Freedom Chamber and, how we can make an impact moving forward.
Well, sounds good. I look forward to, talking with your listeners about how they can make the change, how to make it as painless as possible. And we'll even give them some free trials and things like that next time I'm on the show.
Excellent. That sounds amazing. Andrew Riddle, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Kim.
America Out Loud Talk Radio plays on the iHeartRadio network. You can also listen on our media player from any web browser, anywhere in the world. We have the best in-class apps available on Apple, Android, or Alexa, 24/7. Great Talk Radio. All of our shows go to podcast the following day. You can hear them on apps such as Spotify, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeart Podcast, and many more. Be sure to subscribe and rate the show on Apple Podcasts for me. Don't forget to check out our online store at americaoutloud.shop, where you can find all of the products that we represent on our network at a discounted rate. I'll catch you on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
It's time and this is war.
Worried about spike protein? Dr. Peter McCullough and the Wellness Company may have a solution. Get the incredible American-made, GMO-free spike formula from the Wellness Company. Go to twc.health and use promo code OUTLOUD for an exclusive discount.
Don't accept joint aches and stiffness as part of aging. Doctors at Advanced Nutrition Company, Healthy Cell, created joint health and mobility to support connective tissue, joint lubrication, and reduce joint irritation with curcumin, omega-3, chondroitin, glucosamine, and hyaluronic acid for joint comfort and flexibility. And Healthy Cell's not a pill, it's a gel you swallow. Get 100% drug-free joint support. Go to healthycell.com and use code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first order. That's healthycell.com. Code OUTLOUD.
I'm Dr. James Bragman. Do you suffer from allergies, sinus problems, or just seem to be getting sick more often? You're not alone. Many of my patients are finding relief with Cofix RX nasal spray. I've relied on the sanitizing power of povidone iodine for years. Cofix RX has harnessed that power to help cleanse germs, allergens, and viruses in your nasal cavity. You brush your teeth and wash your hands daily. Stay healthy by using Cofix RX to wash and cleanse your nose daily. Get Cofix RX today. Go to America Out Loud Shop and click on the Cofix RX banner, or type in cofixrx.com/outloud. Buy now and receive a 20% discount with a 30-day money-back guarantee.
World-class care from doctors you can trust, all from the comfort of your home. That is One Wellness. Dr. Peter McCullough and his team at The Wellness Company launched the One Wellness membership to provide free monthly supplements and unlimited telemedicine access with doctors that share your values. The Wellness Company's Chief Medical Board designed every supplement and medical protocol with your health in mind. From groundbreaking supplements like the Spike Support Formula to unique care like Freedom from Big Pharma. Join a healthcare system that puts your health and well-being above the interest of Big Pharma's bottom line. It's the way healthcare should be, with a company that shares your values. Go to OutLoudCare.com today and use code OUTLOUD for 25% off your first month of One Wellness.
I'm so confused. I don't know what to do.
I'm afraid of going to the hospital.
My doctor tells me nutrition doesn't work.
Trust is earned. We are the Energetic Health Institute, and we want to earn your trust. Natural medicine, holistic nutrition, detoxification, fasting, cellular healing, and so much more. Remember, the best way to be free is to be healthy. So stop being a patient and start being a student at energetichealthinstitute.org.
When God, through his grace and mercy, gave us free will, the will of the people was to live freely. To that end, we fight for the liberty of all at a time when global tyranny threatens us as never before in mankind's history. This vision is manifest at AmericaOutloud.news, a site for all who cherish free will and freedom. Now is our time, my fellow Americans. America Out Loud Talk Radio. Liberty and justice for all.
Welcome back to Nurses Out Loud on America Out Loud Talk Radio. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton. Wherever you're listening from today and whatever you're doing, I thank you for giving me the gift of your time. Be sure to make AmericaOutloud.news your daily stop for all the latest news and happenings. We all must do our part and share the stories, the articles, the podcasts, and videos so we can help secure America's future. If you're just joining us, I've been sharing my interviews with some of the Freedom Chamber co-founders. Let's jump right back in with my conversation with Toni Angelini Nagel.
All right, let's jump right back in. So joining me for the second segment is Senior Vice President of Operations and Advocate Development for Job Creators Network, Toni Angelini Nagel. She brings a unique skill set of politics and communications to the table. She possesses a distinct blend of experience in the public, private, and nonprofit sectors. She is an outstanding strategist, communicator, and policy expert, but perhaps most importantly, she is the proud owner of 3 small businesses in New Jersey. Fighting for small businesses is personal to her. Before joining JCN, she advocated for employers at the nation's oldest small business lobbying firm, the National Federation of Independent Businesses, where she oversaw political and communication strategies for 15 states. Before working for NFIB, Angelini served in both terms of Governor Chris Christie's administration. Initially appointed to the administration at the Motor Vehicle Commission to oversee community relations, she was then promoted to the governor's office to coordinate Sandy relief in the highest impacted regions of the state. There, she ensured that there was consistent and effective communication between elected officials and the front office throughout the recovery process. Toni held municipal public office from 2010 through 2015, where she was elected council president after spending 3 years as police commissioner. Her nonprofit experience includes advocating for foster children, fundraising for several charities, and serving on the board of trustees for a private school dedicated to educating underprivileged middle school girls. Toni attended Rutgers University, New Jersey, where she continues to reside with her husband and 3 children. Toni, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So your company, Job Creators Network, along with my organization, Remnant Healthcare, we are co-founding members of this newly established Freedom Chamber. So my goal with this episode really is just to feature our co-founders, learn more about the types of services that you provide, what your company stands for, and what it means to you to be able to be a part of this collaboration of like-minded individuals.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And it's wonderful to be in such good company as co-founders here. The Job Creators Network was established by the co-founder of Home Depot, Bernie Marcus. Bernie still believes to this day, that the success of Home Depot was directly attributed to the fact that he could go out into the communities where Home Depots were and speak directly to his employees about the impact that public policy was having on their paychecks. So Bernie, as he was building Home Depot, was obviously becoming very successful in the free market. But as he became more and more successful, he was also educating people about the impact that public policy had on their lives. And that is something that at Job Creators Network, we strive to do every day. We focus on the small business community, on entrepreneurship, and on keeping free enterprise alive and well in America. I can tell you that when Bernie started Job Creators Network over a decade ago, he had no idea how bad it would be here in 2024. But it is something that as time goes on is really becoming more and more paramount, not only for the survival of small business, but really for the survival of the foundation of our economic principles in our country. And when Freedom Chamber began to be formed, the fact that the vision was to make sure that small business owners and organizations like Job Creators Network were going to be able to pool all of our resources together was certainly something that was really important to us. And unfortunately, something that's been missing for a long time. There are other business organizations that exist that have been around for a while, but unfortunately, they have really, lost their way. And instead of, worrying about the impact that it's having on your dry cleaner, your pizza shop owner, whomever it may be, they're more worried about what invitation they're going to receive to which event in Washington, D.C. And so we pride ourselves at JCN at not being part of sort of that beltway, inner circle, because we don't want to be. We want to be out in the world, in Main Street, USA, talking to real people about what is going on in their lives. And as you mentioned in my bio, I don't just do advocacy work at Job Creators Network. My husband and I are the owners of 3 businesses, mom and pop shop, storefront businesses in a shore town in New Jersey. So we are, we're living this every day. And the beauty of Job Creators Network is whether we own small businesses currently or we have in the past, every one of our leadership team members is connected or has been deeply connected to small businesses. So, we're not just a bunch of lobbyists who are just talking the talk. We're really out there and we are rolling up our sleeves and trying to figure out how to be successful under the very unfortunate economic conditions that we're all facing right now. And the fact that the Freedom Chamber has been able to, create this environment for us to coexist as a true community for small business owners, it's so imperative that that we get more people involved in this, because unfortunately, conservative small business owners have a tendency to not necessarily speak up as much as we would like, and we really want to empower them to speak up. And I think half of the battle is just realizing how many of us are out there. And Freedom Chamber is really creating a great avenue for us to be able to do that, and to shine a light, that you're not alone, that no matter what state you're in, there are others who are feeling the same way you are and are willing to advocate for the right things if they know they're not alone.
Yeah, I think that's so true. And it, as conservative business owners, we probably don't speak out. I think most of us just want to fly under the radar and really be left alone to just do our business. And, a lot of these different structures, you have the LLC and all of that. So my organization is a little bit different. I went the route of a 508c1a. I don't know if you're familiar with that structure. It's a private membership association. That I'm finding many people really aren't that familiar with, although it is not a new structure. If you look at the AMA, the American Medical Association, or the Boy Scouts of America, even, these are all structures that fall under a 508c1a private membership association. So it's really not a new idea. But if you look at when I wanted to start my organization, I looked at starting it as an LLC or a professional PLLC in the state of Tennessee, where I was at previously. And they tax at a percent of 40% business tax. So things like this, all of the bureaucratic red tape and all of that, what can we do as small business owners to kind of band together and make this just, I don't know, just get the government out? Do you think that PMAs are the way to go? Or do you think that we should remain in that kind of LLC or corporation S corp type of a structure?
The difficulty with any of these structures is, you referenced Tennessee, I'm in New Jersey. There's really, it's so inconsistent across the country, that you have small business owners who, they might want to make, they might want to go one way because it makes more sense at the federal level, but then they look at the state that they're trying to exist in, and it's downright hostile, as it is in New Jersey. So it depending on, the individual setup, it can vary greatly. The bottom line is that our current economic policy is not structured for small business owners to be successful. The entrepreneurship spirit, it can be really diminished the second that somebody sits down and starts crunching the numbers. So it's important, I think, to just get, like you said, get government out of our lives, and create a space where somebody has an idea, somebody wants to employ people and impact their community. We're all willing to pay our fair share of taxes, but at what point does it become punitive? And at what point is the government going out of its way to discourage this type of growth? And you saw it. COVID's a great example. It's such a, I hate going back to 2020, but unfortunately, it's the best way to see what happened. One of the stores that my husband and I own is a party store, balloons, paper products, things like that. We were deemed, I'm blanking out on the term now, but we weren't allowed to open. We were that non-essential. Thank you. Yeah. We weren't important enough to exist. Yeah. But there was a Target down the road who sold the exact same items, that we did, but because they had groceries, they were allowed to be open. So my small business, which wasn't bothering anybody and wasn't causing any super spreader events, was closed for a year almost. But, Target down the street was able to thrive. I mean, you saw quarter after quarter where big business was just booming, and small businesses weren't even allowed to put their key in the door. So, one of the things that we really focus on at Job Creators Network is empowering small business owners to tell their own stories, because like you just referenced, no one knows your story better than you do, how you structured your company, why you structured your company that way, and the research that you did going into it. But I think that small business owners, sometimes we tend to forget how much of a knowledge base we really have. So when you really sit down and talk to a small business owner, they're doing everything. They're not just, washing the dishes and cooking the food and serving the patrons. They're also doing their accounting. They're filing whatever paperwork needs to be filed. So one of the things that we take a lot of pride in is sitting down with small business owners and helping them articulate their story. How did they create their business? Why did they create their business? And what can public policy do to help them be more successful? So we have an advocate program. You referenced it reading my bio. It's one of the things that I deal with in the day-to-day at Job Creators Network. And I encourage any of your listeners, if you are interested in joining our program, it's joinjcn.com. There's no charge for it, but we would really love to hear from other small business owners about what's going on with them both locally, and then how the federal government is impacting their lives as well. And we're happy to kind of help them walk through an outline and telling their story. And because to the point of us being members of the Freedom Chamber, creating that sense of community within conservative small business owners, we can empower small business owners to tell their story. And you'd be surprised that every time we get a small business owner willing to raise their hand locally, all of a sudden we start getting these phone calls from other small business owners in the area who are more than willing to join forces, but didn't realize that they had others out there who would back them up.
Yeah. And, I think stories are so important in telling. We all have one, and it isn't, having, it's great that if you have a great product to sell, but, a lot of people have great products to sell, but at the end of the day, what's going to resonate with people are your stories. So I think that that's so important to be able to share with people. And that's part of what I actually love about, having a platform here on Nurses Out Loud, is that I'm able to share. My story is very unique. And it's been amazing to be able to share that story, and that can be all the difference and why somebody chooses to do business with your particular company. Because like you said, there's a lot of places that sell balloons and stuff like that, but why are they going to choose you? It's going to be your story. So it's important to get it out there.
It is. It's important to get it out there, and it's okay to sort of raise your hand and say, you know what, I have something to offer. This is important. And small business owners aren't just operating their business and worried about, their balance sheets. They're the people that are sponsoring your little league. They're the people you go to when you need something, donated or help locally. So it's really important to really empower everybody to join forces, and to really get out there, because unfortunately, the other side of the political aisle, they're so good at giving these anecdotal stories that sometimes may or may not be true, but they are great at sort of dangling out there you've got the proverbial single mom with all these kids who couldn't survive on $15 an hour, so they went and raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour in California, but now that mom can't afford to feed her kids at fast food places because it's too expensive. But they don't tell you the other side of the sort of the outcome of a lot of these public policies.
They don't think things through very well. And
no.
and we're just like over here screaming on this side, but let's look at this logically. But then unfortunately, some people don't possess those skills.
Unfortunately is right.
But you have such an impressive background, Toni, and I'd really love to get your insight on the premise of like a parallel economic structure. First of all, do you think that it is necessary? And secondly, what do you feel are some of the potential pros and cons of making kind of a departure like this from the more conventional and accepted economic system that's been in place for so long? And basically by that, I mean, choosing to do business with them. There's a monopoly, if you will, right? So if I have all of this technology, all of my website and but it doesn't, I want to use payment processors that are like-minded, that share the same values that I do. But a problem I consistently run into is that the technology doesn't integrate well with these, more conservative, out of the mainstream companies. So it's like we're forced to do business with basically people that hate us. So what are your thoughts about just kind of having just an existence of businesses and that are working with one another, and just kind of saying, okay, we're done with you and your economic structure. We're going to build something of our own over here.
If you had asked me this question 10 years ago, my answer would have been very different. But my experience just in the past, probably even, 7 years, as an organization, Job Creators Network, we're out there, we're advocating, sure, we're, economically, we are advocating for what you could consider, conservative policies, fiscally conservative policies. But there really shouldn't be anything too controversial about small business owners, hoping for tax cuts. Like this is not like third rail politics stuff. But I can tell you, just in the past several years, we have been targeted by several very large companies. And sort of like the first time it happens, you're like, oh, I wonder why that happened. And then the second time it happens, you're like, wait a second, is it because we're not touting, whatever the progressives want us to. And as the years went on, unfortunately, we saw it more and more that very large corporations, credit card processors, email, senders, they are going out of their way to really target organizations like ours. So I'm happy to say, after getting sort of our feet underneath us, we are now almost exclusively dealing with like-minded companies, because unfortunately we've had to sort of create this parallel economy to the more quote unquote mainstream, so that we aren't targeted, so that we can just do business the same way another organization on the other side is easily able to do business, just because they happen to sort of be falling in line to whatever the popular trendy thing to advocate for is these days. So the more that we can interact amongst ourselves, whether that be for sending out emails or just general outreach and economic processing, we have to do more of it. It's unfortunate. It's sort of a sign of the times, I guess. But the left has gone so far left that the only option that we have is to really form our own systems, so that that you're dealing with like-minded people who, at the end of the day, you don't have to agree with everything.
Right.
You just have to be able to provide the service that you're contracted to provide, whether you like what we say or not. And so the fact that that's where we are today is that we have to, we have to be able to sort through that. It's sad, but it is a reality of being successful in this climate.
It really is. And, I've actually been ghosted by companies because they didn't agree with what I'm doing, which I mean, it's very straightforward. I provide healthcare services. We are outside of the mainstream system. We're a cash only private membership association. But because we don't tout the accepted, COVID narrative and all of that, we are very much, I guess, blackballed from a lot of the mainstream companies. Mm-hmm. They will not work with us. I mean, I was literally ghosted by an internet company, like a membership platform. They just refuse to work with us, and that happens more and more. So I think what it is that we have to be very intentional, because a lot of times, as I alluded to earlier, it can be very inconvenient. The technology doesn't integrate well. It's possible, but it takes a little bit more effort, right? And we're also just used to having everything be very convenient and not have to worry about anything. But I've said this many times, like, we really have to get to a point where we start to be okay with being a little bit uncomfortable. Because if we're not uncomfortable, and we're not okay with being uncomfortable, then we're truly always going to be somebody's slave. So we've got to make that intentional effort to rise up and be one with each other on this side of what I like to say sanity.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, that's the beauty of the Freedom Chamber is that they are really providing all of us an opportunity to do business with each other, to, look for employees, to even just share news stories. The Freedom Chamber has a great section where they're just harvesting all of the news that is relative to free enterprise and small businesses and economic prosperity. Just having all of that in one place, because we see the censorship that takes place with news platforms on a lot of social media. It's unfortunate, but it is, thank God, we have Freedom Chamber to sort of create this tool for us, and so that we can all find each other.
Exactly. I mean, I'm certain many of us would not know the other existed if not for the Freedom Chamber, allowing us this space to come in and really collaborate with one another. So unfortunately, we're out of time, and I wish I could continue to talk with you because you're absolutely amazing. I love what you're doing over there at JCN. I will make sure that we include all of the links to your organization and your website for people to join your advocacy program as well. I'm going to have my organization join as well. So thank you so much, Toni Angelini Nagel, for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. That's all the time that we have for today, friends. But remember, we are here on the air 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can also catch the encore at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please be sure to tune in and listen to myself and my amazing sister nurses. As we walk you through all of these hot topics, we will empower you with information and education. We will advocate and we will stand in the gap for you because we are nurses and this is what we do. I'm your host, Nurse Kimberly Overton, and you can find me here every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Until next time, be safe, be well, and God bless. Remember, we are in a war for truth. We are putting out a bounty on the real misinformation and exposing the purveyors of propaganda. No topic is off limits as we shine our lights and expose the darkness.
It's time